What if the greatest investment playbook ever written wasn't published on Wall Street, but forged in a Pittsburgh steel mill in 1870? Welcome to MacroPulseBusiness. I'm going to show you 3 laws that built the most powerful industrial empires in American history, and why those exact same laws are being executed right now in the age of artificial intelligence. Carnegie, Rockefeller, JPMorgan. 3 names that defined an era. And here's the stunning truth. The confusion you feel today about AI, semiconductors, and data centers, they felt the exact same confusion about steel, oil, and railroads. The industries changed. The laws did not. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly who controls the AI era and why the answer was already written 150 years ago. Let's begin. Law number 1. Control the infrastructure. Andrew Carnegie arrived in America in 1848 at age 13 with nothing but ambition. His first job paid $1.20 per week in a textile factory. By age 17, he was hired by the Pennsylvania Railroad. By age 24, he was the Western Division Manager, one of the most powerful railroad positions in the country. But Carnegie's real genius emerged in 1872 when he opened the Edgar Thomson Steel Works in Pittsburgh. He didn't just build a steel mill. He built a system. He owned the iron ore mines in Minnesota. He owned the coal mines in Pennsylvania. He owned the railroad lines that connected them. And he owned the factories that turned raw materials into finished steel. From raw material to final delivery, Carnegie controlled 100% of the supply chain. By 1901, Carnegie Steel generated revenue equivalent to $14 billion in today's money. He became America's second richest man. And he did it by following one simple principle. Whoever controls the infrastructure controls who builds the world. Carnegie's dominance came from 3 specific laws. Law 1. Technological innovation. He adopted the Bessemer process, which increased steel output from 10 tons per day to 100 tons per day, a 10 times improvement. Competitors simply couldn't match his production capacity. Law 2. Vertical integration. He owned every step of the supply chain, mines, railroads, and factories. No competitor could undercut his costs because he eliminated every middleman. Law 3. Cost obsession. Carnegie tracked every penny of production cost in real time in the 1880s before computers existed. He believed that whoever controlled costs controlled profits, and whoever controlled profits controlled the market. Now here's where it gets extraordinary. Replace the word steel with semiconductors, and you have a perfect description of the AI era. Carnegie's iron ore mines are today's semiconductor fab equipment. His railroad network is today's global supply chain. The Brooklyn Bridge and American railroads built from Carnegie steel, those are today's AI models, data centers, and electric vehicles. NVIDIA controls over 80% of the global AI chip market. TSMC controls 60% of global foundry capacity. The material changed from iron to silicon. The law never changed. The numbers confirm exactly how Carnegie's law is playing out in 2025. Global AI infrastructure investment has now crossed $1 trillion. Let me break that down. The U.S. CHIPS Act triggered over $540 billion in combined government and private investment. TSMC committed $165 billion to build semiconductor fabs in Arizona, the largest foreign direct investment in American history. Microsoft is spending $80 billion on AI data centers in fiscal year 2025 alone. Amazon spent $75 billion on cloud infrastructure in 2024. Intel committed $100 billion over 5 years to rebuild American chip manufacturing. Here's the context that makes these numbers even more staggering. In 1990, the United States controlled 37% of global semiconductor manufacturing. By 2020, that share had collapsed to just 12%. The CHIPS Act is America's attempt to reverse that decline, and it's working. The private sector is responding at a scale that even the most optimistic projections didn't anticipate. Before you invest in any AI company, ask 3 Carnegie questions. Does it own the critical infrastructure? Is it vertically integrated? And does it hold monopoly pricing power? NVIDIA's CUDA ecosystem, Microsoft's OpenAI partnership, and TSMC's exclusive EUV manufacturing capability. These are Carnegie's iron ore mines, railroad lines, and steel mills, rebuilt in silicon. Law number 2. Control the energy. John D. Rockefeller was born in 1839 in upstate New York. At age 16, he got his first job as a bookkeeper and recorded every single penny he earned or spent in a ledger he called Ledger A. He kept that habit for the rest of his life. In 1863, at age 24, Rockefeller invested $4,000 into a Cleveland oil refinery. 7 years later, he founded Standard Oil with $1 million in capital and 2,000 employees. By 1880, Standard Oil controlled 90 to 95% of all U.S. oil refining. By 1913, Rockefeller's personal wealth reached $900 million, approximately 3% of the entire U.S. GDP. In today's money, that's roughly $400 billion. How did he do it? 3 strategies. First, cost mastery. He tracked every penny of refining cost and produced oil cheaper than any competitor. Second, transport monopoly. He negotiated secret railroad rebates. While competitors paid 35 cents per barrel to ship oil, Rockefeller paid only 10 cents. That 25-cent advantage was enough to destroy any rival. Third, absorb or destroy. His message to competitors was simple: join Standard Oil or go bankrupt. In 1872, in what became known as the Cleveland Massacre, he acquired 26 of Cleveland's 30 refineries in just 2 months. The Standard Oil Trust eventually controlled 34 companies. But Rockefeller's story has a dark side that's directly relevant today. In 1904, journalist Ida Tarbell published The History of the Standard Oil Company. Her investigation revealed the secret railroad rebates, the predatory pricing, and the systematic elimination of competition. In 1911, the U.S. Supreme Court ordered Standard Oil to be broken up into 34 separate companies. Now fast forward to 2025. The parallels are unmistakable. Google controls 90% of global search advertising. Meta controls 60% of social media advertising. Amazon controls 40% of U.S. e-commerce. The Federal Trade Commission is pursuing antitrust cases against all 3. History is rhyming loudly. But here's the more urgent story: the AI energy crisis. In 2023, global data centers consumed 183 terawatt-hours of electricity. By 2026, that number is projected to reach 426 terawatt-hours, a 133% increase in just 3 years. By 2030, AI data centers alone could consume up to 10% of total U.S. electricity production. The International Energy Agency projects that data center electricity demand will triple by 2030. This is Rockefeller's law playing out in real time. Whoever controls the power grid controls the AI era. And the companies positioned to profit from this energy revolution are not the AI companies themselves. They're the power generators, grid infrastructure builders, and cooling technology providers. The AI power value chain has 4 critical nodes: generation, equipment, transmission, and cooling. In generation, Constellation Energy signed a 20-year power purchase agreement with Microsoft to restart 3 Mile Island Unit 1, a nuclear plant that had been shut down for 5 years. Constellation also has a 20-year agreement with Meta. These long-term contracts guarantee revenue regardless of market conditions. In equipment, GE Vernova generates $34.9 billion in annual revenue. Its turbines produce 25% of the world's electricity. Every new power plant being built for AI data centers needs GE Vernova equipment. In transmission, Quanta Services generates $23.7 billion in revenue. The American power grid is 50 to 70 years old and needs a complete rebuild. Every mile of new transmission line means revenue for Quanta. In cooling, Vertiv generates $8 billion in revenue and is NVIDIA's direct partner for GPU cluster cooling systems. As AI chips become more powerful, they generate more heat, and Vertiv's liquid cooling technology becomes more essential. And then there's nuclear. In May 2025, President Trump signed 4 nuclear executive orders. The target: grow U.S. nuclear capacity from 100 gigawatts to 400 gigawatts by 2050. Google signed a nuclear restart contract with NextEra Energy. Amazon committed $650 million to a nuclear campus. Oracle is designing SMR-powered data centers. Nuclear provides 24/7 baseload power. Solar fails at night, wind fails in calm. Nuclear never stops. Law number 3. Control the capital. John Pierpont Morgan was born in 1837 into a wealthy Connecticut banking family. Unlike Carnegie and Rockefeller, Morgan didn't build from nothing. He inherited access to capital. But what he did with that access was unprecedented. In 1895, when the U.S. Treasury's gold reserves fell to a critical level, threatening a complete collapse of the dollar, Morgan personally organized a syndicate that loaned $65 million in gold to the U.S. government. He saved the entire American financial system and made a profit doing it. In 1901, Morgan bought Carnegie Steel for $480 million, the largest business transaction in history up to that point. He merged it with other steel companies to create U.S. Steel, the world's first billion-dollar corporation. Carnegie received $225 million personally, which he spent the rest of his life giving away. Morgan's strategy was called Morganization. 3 rules. First, eliminate destructive competition by merging competing companies into single dominant entities. Second, install professional management and financial discipline. Third, maintain control through interlocking board seats across multiple industries. By 1912, Morgan and his associates held board seats in 112 corporations with combined assets of $22 billion, equivalent to roughly 30% of U.S. GDP at the time. He didn't just invest in companies. He decided which companies were allowed to exist. The most dramatic demonstration of Morgan's power came in October 1907. A series of speculative failures triggered a nationwide banking panic. Banks were failing. Depositors were lining up to withdraw their savings. The stock market was collapsing. There was no Federal Reserve, no government bailout mechanism, no FDIC. The entire American financial system depended on the confidence of private investors, and that confidence was evaporating. Morgan, at age 70, locked the most powerful bankers in America in his personal library at 219 Madison Avenue and refused to let them leave until they committed capital to stop the panic. He personally contributed $25 million and organized another $25 million from John D. Rockefeller. The panic stopped. The market stabilized. The direct result of the 1907 panic was the creation of the Federal Reserve System in 1913, because Congress recognized that the country couldn't depend on one man's personal wealth and authority to prevent financial collapse. Now compare that to March 2023. Silicon Valley Bank collapsed after depositors withdrew $42 billion in 48 hours, the fastest bank run in history, accelerated by social media. The Federal Reserve, the FDIC, and the Treasury Department intervened within 72 hours. JPMorgan Chase, under CEO Jamie Dimon, acquired First Republic Bank after its collapse, adding $500 billion in assets. The role is identical. Decide who lives, who dies, who gets absorbed. Only the actor changed from a private individual to an institution. Today, JPMorgan Chase controls $3.9 trillion in assets. It is the largest bank in American history, and its analysts are making the same decisions Morgan made in 1907, just at a scale he could never have imagined. JPMorgan's top picks for 2026 reflect exactly where capital is flowing. NVIDIA, with a price target of $185, remains the dominant AI infrastructure play. Constellation Energy, targeting $320, is the nuclear power leader for AI data centers. GE Vernova, targeting $450, is the grid equipment monopoly. Vertiv Holdings, targeting $165, is the AI cooling infrastructure leader. And Vistra Corporation, targeting $190, is the diversified power generation play. Notice the pattern. These aren't AI software companies. They're infrastructure companies, energy companies, capital allocation companies. This is Morgan's Law applied to 2026. Here's the critical insight that most investors miss. There are 2 parallel economies operating simultaneously right now. In the first economy, capital is flowing into AI infrastructure at an unprecedented rate. Trillion-dollar investments, monopoly formation, vertical integration. This is Carnegie, Rockefeller, and Morgan's playbook. executed in silicon and electrons. In the second economy, traditional industries are being disrupted faster than they can adapt. Retail, media, transportation, finance, all facing AI-driven transformation. The companies that control the infrastructure of the first economy will determine the fate of the second. Let's bring the three laws together. Carnegie's law: control the infrastructure. Steel became semiconductors. The Bessemer process became NVIDIA's CUDA architecture. Carnegie's railroad network became TSMC's global supply chain. Whoever makes the foundation rules the era. In 2025, NVIDIA, TSMC, and ASML make the foundation. Rockefeller's law: control the energy flow. Oil became electricity. Standard Oil's refinery network became today's power grid. Whoever powers the machines rules the world. In 2025, Constellation Energy, GE Vernova, and Vistra power the machines. Morgan's law: control the capital gates. Bonds became venture capital. Morgan's interlocking board seats became today's institutional ownership. Whoever decides who gets funded rules all. In 2025, JPMorgan Chase, BlackRock, and the $500 billion Stargate project make those decisions. The three laws are not historical curiosities. They are operating right now in real time at a scale that Carnegie, Rockefeller, and Morgan could never have imagined. The AI revolution is not a technology story. It is a power story. And power in every era follows the same three laws. The question is not whether these laws apply to you. They do. The question is whether you understand them well enough to position yourself on the right side of history. History doesn't repeat, but laws do. Carnegie built his empire by controlling the infrastructure of the industrial age. Rockefeller built his by controlling the energy that powered it. Morgan built his by controlling the capital that financed it. Together, they created the modern American economy. Today, a new generation of empire builders is following the exact same playbook. NVIDIA controls the chips. Constellation Energy controls the nuclear power. JPMorgan Chase controls the capital allocation. The names changed. The laws did not. The next empire is already being built. The question is not whether you're watching, it's whether you understand what you're watching. This has been MacroPulseBusiness, Economic Intelligence Episode 15. If this analysis gave you a new framework for understanding the AI revolution, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Every week, we decode the economic forces that most people never see coming. The next episode: how the Federal Reserve's interest rate decisions are reshaping the global capital flow, and which asset classes will benefit most in the next 12 months. Follow us at MacroPulseBusiness for daily economic intelligence. Thank you for watching.